We're going to go into the question of fear. Which is to observe the fear in yourself. You are the humanity. You are not Mr. So-and-so with a name and a form. You are the essence of all human beings. For God's sake, do realize it. Because you, like anybody else in the world, goes through agony. He knows what sorrow is, what death is, frustration, loneliness, the lack of love, compassion, violence. This happens all throughout the world. So you are the essence of all humanity. That's a fact. So when we are discussing or having a dialogue about fear, we are discussing human fear, not Mr. So-and-so's fear or Miss So-and-so's fear. When you understand the global fear of humanity, then you can see your own little fears. But if you only regard or concern with your own little fears, then you lose the greater fear of altogether. You understand this? So we are having a dialogue about human fear. Can you as a human being observe your fear? Sitting there, you know your fears, can you observe it very carefully? Take time, we've got plenty of time. Observe it. Fear of death, fear of loneliness, fear of tomorrow, fear of losing a job, fear of losing your wife or your girl or your boy, losing your position, losing the vitality, the energy, fear of not being as intellectual, verbal, or clever or as another. To be aware of it, to observe it. Now, listen to this carefully, if you don't mind. Does the word fear create fear, or fear exist without the word? You've understood my question? Does the word fear awaken fear, or without the word, this thing called fear exists? Please, this is very important for you to find out if you are serious about the freedom from fear. Total freedom from fear, psychologically. Then we can, if one understand the freedom from psychologically of fear, then the biological fears becomes totally different thing. Isn't it? If there is freedom from fear inwardly, then biologically there is the activity of intelligence which says do this and don't do that, which we'll discuss after. First, we must have a dialogue about psychological fear. So we're asking, when you observe your fear, you use the word fear instantly. And the word is not the thing. The word tent is not the actual tent. So the word is not the thing. Right? Oh, come on. So, is the word fear the actuality? Or the actuality exists without the word? It's very important to find out, because we are caught in words. Words and their symbols and their meaning have become tremendously important. So can you separate the word from the fact, the word tent and the actuality? I use the word tent to describe this, to communicate. But the communication, the word, the description is not the thing. Right? So similarly, the word, is it fear, or is the word separate from the feeling? Because it's tremendously important to find out. Because every human being is caught in this fear of tomorrow, of yesterday's misfortunes, of the guilt, what he has done or not done, what he hopes to do, and he may not be able to do. He wants to succeed and fail, and the constant dread of pain, psychological pain, psychological demands and frustrations, all that. Because we live with it, we have lived with it for 1,000,000 years. Man has not been able to solve it. He postpones it, he avoids it, he runs away from it. So here we are asking, can you separate the word from the feeling? Or the word has created the feeling, and without the word there may be no feeling. And if there is feeling, what is it? You understand? Please do understand this. Suppose I'm afraid of not being able to talk to an audience, to you, because I have cancer or something. I haven't got it, don't worry. Or doesn't matter if you worry, I haven't got it. Suppose I have cancer, and I'm frustrated because I want to express. If I'm silly enough, want to express. I'm frightened. I lose. And I am afraid not only biological pain, but also frustrated, deeply wounded, hurt by not being able to communicate. Because that has been I've been doing this for the last 50 years or more. So I'm frightened. I'm not, but I'm supposing. Now, that fear, I'm asking myself, is the word making the fear, or does this feeling exist by itself? If the feeling exists by itself, what is that feeling? The feeling is no tomorrow. You understand? Pain and all the rest of it. So the feeling is sensation, isn't it? Without the word, the feeling is a sensation. But with the word, it becomes fear. I wonder if you capture it. Do you get it? It must be in your blood. I'll repeat it once more, see it. You see, we associate always the word with the thing. Moment you use the word tent, you have a picture of the tent. Small, big, colored, whatever it is. You have a picture of it. Instantly. To separate the word from the fact. The fact this is not the word. Right? That's simple. Fear we all know, every human being right through the world knows this appalling thing called fear. And that has burdened man for 1,000,000 years. And when you are frightened, you shrink, you become blind, you are paralyzed, you have lost everything. You know that feeling, I'm sure of it. So you have to find out for yourself, not repeat what the speaker is saying, that's no value. Find out for yourself whether the feeling is separate from the word being fear, and find out also if the word is creating this feeling. If there is a separation from the word from the feeling, then you have the feeling. But moment you name that feeling, it becomes fear. And when you don't name it, it's a sensation, right? And look at that sensation with the totality of all your senses. You understand what I'm talking about? Have some of you understood what I'm talking about? So, part of the brain, part of the mind and brain is sensation, right? But the moment you name a particular sensation by a particular name, you've already created the response according to your conditioning. You understand? My conditioning, suppose a person's conditioning is he's anti-communist. And he's trained, he's educated to be anti. Arab, anti-Jew, anti-Hindu, this or that. So, you respond according to that condition. And that part of that conditioning is the association of the word with the thing. Never realizing the word is not the thing. Now, the word fear is not the feeling. So you have only that feeling left. That feeling, that sensation is part of the brain, a part of the mind. To observe that feeling with all your senses, then you will see, if you do it, not theorize about it, not speculate about it, but actually do it, then you will see that fear, which is the movement of thought, which is the movement of thought as the word, ceases. Have you understood all this? Then, psychologically, when one is free of fear, actually, then what effect has it on the physical instrument? You understand my question? If you are not frightened of any danger psychologically, what effect has that depth of the realization of truth on the physical? If you are free of that fear now, what effect has it on your physical state? You know, the psychological fears dominate the physical. That's obvious. And therefore, the body, the instrument, this organism, loses its own intelligence. If the fears of the psyche are constantly in operation, as with most people, then there's a tremendous strain on the organism. It's frightened, it's nervous, it's always apprehensive, always guarding itself, never open. And so, those psychological fears affect very deeply on the physical organism. And the inner affects the outer, and therefore its own native intelligence of the body is being destroyed. As you destroy the organism through the pleasure of a taste, smoking, drinking, drugs, eating a lot of meat, all the rest of that goes on. Because you are trained, you are educated along these lines. Therefore, that's always destroying the deep organic intelligence. So, when there is no fear inwardly, the organism operates with its own intelligence. Therefore, it is quite a different operation. You understand? Nothing is dictated to it. No, well, you don't know this. So too, you must lay the foundation of all this. Because then only you will understand later on when we discuss about meditation what is implied in it. But if you don't lay the foundation, which is not to be psychologically, inwardly, psychologically afraid, and if you are afraid and you are still go after meditation, then you're caught up in illusions, in stupidities, in absurd activities. Because the root, the essence of destructive activity goes on, and you pile on it all kinds of idiotic ideas. Meditation is something that you have to, that comes naturally when you have laid down the foundation. Right? So, what we are talking about and having a dialogue is laying the foundation, not only biological foundation, but psychological foundation. When that foundation is deep, strong, healthy, safe, then the meditation then becomes something extraordinary. But if without that, meditation becomes rather childish, meaningless, leading to illusion.